Hello dear viewers. Today, we're going to follow an emotional story about the relationship between James and Deep. Have you ever wondered how CEO James' mother reacted when she returned to Vietnam and discovered the significant changes in her son's life? Could these changes be related to his relationship with Deep, the woman James has developed special feelings for? In this video, James' mother decides to meet Deep to learn more about her past. Is Deep capable of bringing happiness to James? Will her past, filled with hardships and a previous broken marriage, become a barrier in their relationship? How will James' mother respond when facing her concerns about her son's future? You definitely won't want to miss these exciting developments. Be sure to subscribe to the channel today so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. After a long time living abroad, James' mother decided to return to Vietnam. She was excited not only because she missed her homeland but also because she wanted to better understand her son's life, especially since he had been living in Vietnam for a while. She had noticed significant changes in James' life, particularly after he met Deep. While James hadn't explicitly talked about his relationship with Deep, his mother could sense a difference in him. He seemed calmer and at peace in a way she hadn't seen before. However, James' mother couldn't help but feel concerned about her son's future. She understood that James was now an adult capable of making his own decisions, but she still wanted to better understand the relationships he was forming, especially the one with Deep. One beautiful morning, after arriving at James' house, his mother sat on a chair in the garden, silently observing the surroundings. The peaceful scenery, the lush greenery, and the fresh air made her feel at ease, but in her heart, she was still thinking about James and Deep's relationship. She couldn't help but worry about her son's choices, considering the complexity of Deep's past. James' mother reflected on her son's past struggles, and it made her anxious about his future. She knew that her son's career and personal life were both crucial, and it was not just about his work but also the relationships he chose. Now that James had chosen to live with a woman who had a complicated history, she wasn't sure what to make of it. "Mom, I know you're worried, but everything is fine," James said when his mother asked about his relationship with Deep. He looked at her with confidence, but there was a hint of concern in his eyes. "I'm not worried about you, I'm worried about your future," his mother replied thoughtfully. "Do you really know everything about Deep? I know she's been through a previous marriage and is an orphan. I just want to make sure you won't face more difficulties later on." James sighed and sat down across from her. "I understand, Mom. But I really feel that Deep is the one I want to be with. Her past doesn't define our future. She's a strong person, and she's been through so much. I believe in our love." James' mother paused and then looked at him, her eyes full of concern. "I understand how you feel, but I can't help but think about the challenges she might bring. Can she really make you happy? Can she fit into our family?" James stared at his mother for a while before responding. "I know you're worried, but I'm certain. I feel happy when I'm with her. Her past is something we can work through together. I'm not rushing things, I'll take my time, but I'm sure of my feelings for Deep." His mother remained silent for a moment, then spoke softly. I just want you to be sure. I don't want you to regret anything in the future. Take your time, think carefully before making a big decision. James stood up, walked over to his mother, and gently held her hand. I promise I will. I will always remember what you said. But I also hope you can trust me more, and understand that this is what makes me happy. James' mother looked at him, her eyes filled with love and worry. I want you to be happy, James. I won't stop you from making your own choices, but I hope you'll be responsible for them. Just think it through carefully, and don't rush. Although James' mother still had concerns, she couldn't deny that her son's love for Deep was genuine. She knew that love and relationships took time to prove themselves. And, for now, she would allow James to make his own decisions, trusting that time would show whether his choice was the right one. James' mother decided that meeting Deep was necessary to understand more about the woman her son had developed deep feelings for. She knew that only by directly speaking with Deep and learning about her background could she evaluate the challenges she had faced. Specifically, she wanted to understand Deep's past and whether those experiences would impact James' future. One beautiful morning, after arranging it in advance, Deep arrived at James' house to meet his mother. She was a little nervous because she knew that James' mother was a serious woman who cared deeply for her son. However, she also hoped that by sharing her story, she could help James' mother understand that her love for James was genuine and without hesitation. When Deep walked in, James' mother was sitting in the living room, looking at her with a mixture of sternness and curiosity. Deep walked over and bowed slightly, greeting her with deep respect. Hello, I'm really glad to meet you today, Deep said, her voice soft but respectful. James' mother nodded and gestured for Deep to sit down. Thank you for coming. I want to understand more about you, especially your past and the experiences you've gone through. I know my son is very fond of you, but I need to be sure that you can truly make him happy. Deep carefully listened to the serious tone in James' mother's words, and she began to share her life story. I was born into a poor family and lost both my parents when I was young. I grew up in an orphanage and had to overcome many hardships on my own. Later, I married a man who I thought I would spend my life with, but that marriage didn't last long. We divorced because we couldn't find harmony. However, I learned many valuable lessons from those experiences, and now I feel ready to start anew. James' mother listened attentively, occasionally nodding to show that she was processing Deep's words. However, she couldn't shake off her concerns. You've been through a lot in your life, and I can't help but worry about my son. I want him to have a stable life, free from more pain. Can you really bring him the peace and happiness that I hope for him? Deep was slightly taken aback by the direct question, but she understood that this was something James' mother needed to know. She smiled gently, her eyes full of conviction. I understand that you're concerned for James, and I know I'm not perfect. But I love him with all my heart, and I'll do everything I can to make sure he feels safe and happy. Even though I have a complicated past, I believe in love, and I believe that with patience and sincerity, we can overcome any challenge together. James' mother remained silent for a moment, her gaze thoughtful. "You're right, but I can't help but worry. James has already gone through so much, and I don't want him to face more hurt. I just want to make sure you are someone who can bring him peace." Deep gently replied, her voice persuasive, "I can't promise that life will be without difficulties, but I can promise that I will always be by James' side, supporting him in every situation. I love him, and I don't want to abandon him. I will do everything to bring him happiness." The conversation continued in a serious but sincere atmosphere. While James' mother wasn't quick to accept everything, she could sense the genuine affection Deep had for her son. Although she still had concerns about Deep's past and the potential challenges she might face in the future, she also understood that James' relationship with Deep was ultimately their choice. "Thank you for sharing your life with me," James' mother said, her voice softer. "I can't say that I completely agree immediately, but I hope my son will think carefully before making a final decision. I just want him to be happy." Deep bowed her head and thanked James' mother. "I understand, and I will try my best to make James happy. I know that not everyone will easily accept me, but I hope that one day, you will see that the love between James and me is sincere and worth cherishing." The meeting ended with a sense of reflection on both sides. While James' mother still had certain concerns, she also understood that Deep's sincerity was undeniable. She couldn't decide everything for her son, but she hoped that James would find the right path in this relationship. James' mother, after returning to Vietnam and seeing the changes in her son's life, still wasn't completely at ease about his relationship with Deep. Even though she had met Deep and understood more about her, she still felt that Deep's circumstances were not suitable for making such an important decision as marriage. James' mother was a serious woman when it came to family matters, and she couldn't rush into accepting a relationship that still raised concerns about the woman's past and background. "Son, I know you love Deep very much, but I'm truly worried," James' mother said as she sat across from him, her tone full of seriousness. "Do you really know everything about Deep? I understand she's been through a lot, and I'm not sure if she can give you the stable and happy life that I hope for you." James sighed, his face showing a bit of exhaustion. He had heard these concerns from his mother many times, but in his heart, his love for Deep was unwavering. "Mom, I understand your worries, but I really love her. Deep's past is just a part of her life, it doesn't define our future. I believe in our love." His mother stayed silent for a moment, reflecting on her son's words. She gazed out the window, where sunlight filtered through the branches of trees, and she once again felt that her worries couldn't be easily dismissed. "I don't doubt your love, but I can't help but think that Deep may face difficulties in integrating into our family. And as you know, family is so important in marriage. If she can't fit in with the family, will everything be okay?" James responded firmly, "Mom, I love her, and she loves me. We've already overcome many challenges, and I believe our family will understand us. I can't keep living in worry and not move forward." James' mother remained quiet for a while, her gaze thoughtful. "Son, I just want to make sure you've thought it through. Love is important, But marriage is also about commitment, responsibility to the family. I don't want you to be hurt, and I don't want our family to face unnecessary difficulties. James took his mother's hand, sensing her concern and love. I don't want to make you worry, but I also have to live with my choices. I love Deep, and I believe we can build a good life together. You don't need to worry about it. His mother looked at him, her eyes full of affection but also anxiety. I can't just sit back and say nothing when you're making such a big decision. But I also don't want to interfere too much in your relationship. I just hope you won't regret your decision later. James smiled lightly, but he also understood that his mother had only done all this out of love for him. I know you only want the best for me. I won't do anything without thinking it through. But I believe Deep and I will overcome any obstacles together. James' mother didn't respond immediately. She just looked at her son, her gaze filled with concern. Even though she didn't completely agree with the relationship, she didn't want to stop James from following his heart. She understood that, in the end, the path James chose for himself was his decision. Son, I will never stop worrying about you, but I will respect your decision. I just hope you'll always be happy and not regret this choice, James' mother said softly. James felt warmth in his heart when he heard his mother's words. He knew that, even though she didn't completely accept Deep, her love for him would never change. Thank you, Mom. I know you always worry about me. I won't disappoint you. James' mother smiled. Though her worries remained, she knew that her son's life was his own to decide. She could only hope that, with time, the right answers would come.
Chào các bạn khán giả thân yêu. Hôm nay chúng ta sẽ theo dõi một câu chuyện đầy cảm xúc về mối quan hệ giữa James và Diệp. Bạn có bao giờ tò mò về cách mẹ siêu James phản ứng khi quay trở về Việt Nam và phát hiện ra những thay đổi lớn trong cuộc sống của con trai mình không? Và liệu sự thay đổi này có liên quan đến mối quan hệ với Diệp, người mà James đã dành tình cảm đặc biệt? Trong video này, mẹ James quyết định gặp gỡ Diệp để tìm hiểu về quá khứ của cô. Liệu cô có đủ khả năng để mang lại hạnh phúc cho James và quá khứ của Diệp? Với những khó khăn và một cuộc hôn nhân tan vỡ liệu có là một rào cản trong mối quan hệ này? Mẹ James sẽ phản ứng thế nào khi phải đối mặt với những lo ngại về tương lai của con trai mình? Mời các bạn đón xem và cảm ơn các bạn đã đăng ký kênh.